Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the third webinar of the 2025 Innovation in Motion webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. Today's webinar focuses on how PennDOT's Highway Safety and Traffic Operations Division, also known as HSTO, will highlight recent division accomplishments, paint a picture of what drives HSTO's business operations, and look ahead to the future. My name is Jacqueline Huss with PennDOT's Bureau of Strategic Business Operations, and I am your moderator for today's session. Before we get started, I want to review a few important housekeeping items. All attendees are muted during this webinar session. If you need closed captioning, please select the closed captioning icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. A question-answer period will follow today's presentation. If you have any questions during today's session, please use the chat box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to submit your questions. One professional development hour will be awarded for attending today's webinar. If you would like to receive the PDH credit, please click on the link in the chat box to complete the survey and submit your information. Before we begin, please be advised that this session is being recorded. If you ask a question or comment in the chat box during the session, please note that by doing so, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and use of your statements recorded as part of this session. I'd like to kick things off with introducing our speakers for today. Our first speaker, Doug Tomlinson, Chief of PennDOT's Highway Safety and Traffic Operations Division, will highlight HSTO's roadmap and explain how this information is shared with leadership, the business community, and fellow HSTO division staff. Doug will also explain HSTO's organizational structure and guiding principles. Brian McNary, PennDOT's TSMO Operations and Performance Section Chief, will discuss the accomplishments and roadmap for temporary traffic control, traffic systems and performance, and traffic management center operations. Next, Steve Galt, Chief of PennDOT's TSMO, Arterials, and Planning section, will share the section's accomplishments and where they are going in the future, such as capitalizing on available funding, better management of traffic signals, and providing support to the districts. Then Bob Pinto, PennDOT's Traffic Engineering and Permits section chief, will share accomplishments such as Welcome to Pennsylvania signs and APRIS modernization. In addition, Bob will highlight the line paint program and highway occupancy permit program improvements and innovative technology deployment program activities. And lastly, Tom Glass, Chief of PennDOT's Highway Safety section, will be providing insights and updates about the Highway Safety section by addressing crash data systems and analysis, behavioral traffic safety efforts, and safety infrastructure improvements. Welcome, Doug, Brian, Steve, Bob, and Tom. Thanks for being with us today. Let's get started.
Good morning and welcome to the Innovation in Motion webinar. My name is Doug Tomlinson. I'm Chief of Highway Safety and Traffic Operations. Today we're going to talk about the road ahead, exploring the Highway Safety and Traffic Operations roadmap. Our roadmap was first developed in 2022 as a way to share information with PennDOT leadership, the business community, as well as folks amongst our own division. For leaders, it gives them a perspective on why we feel we should invest more money in safety and mobility. For the business community, it helps them understand the efforts that we're doing and where we're focused over the coming years. And for our own staff, it gives them a perspective of work of people in other areas that they may not be as familiar with. This is a look at the folks that lead each of the different sections in HSTO: Brian McNary, Bob Pinto, Steve Galt, and Tom Glass. You're going to hear from each of these folks as we go through today's presentation. Our organization is very diverse. It includes 4 sections with 3 units in each. So we have 12 varying categories of things that we're responsible for. A whole host of activities from traffic to mobility to safety. Each of these categories, we all come together to try to make improvements on the highways and roads in Pennsylvania. A few guiding principles were established as we developed our initial roadmap. They help all the staff in HSTO work in the same way to solve our goals and missions. The first and most important is that we're one PennDOT. We recognize that central office plays a key role in the efforts that we do in PennDOT, but so do the folks that work in the engineering districts, those that work in the county, all of us come together is necessary for us to be successful. And we do so with a customer service mindset. We recognize that both county and district folks, as well as the motoring public and those in the business community, they are not people that work for us. They are our customers. And we want to maintain that customer service mindset and treat everybody in that way. In central office, we know that we need to be the technical experts. We are the last stop where people need help and guidance. They come to us. So we take that technical expertise. We want to understand the things that we're responsible for and establish training that can help people in all areas of highway safety and traffic. That's both folks that work for PennDOT as well as those in the business side of the house, folks that work for municipalities and others. We really put an emphasis on trying to ensure that the proper training is established for folks. We look at quality and performance, and we do quality assurance reviews to make sure that we can continue to improve and make enhancements to our programs. As part of being in central office, we often get involved in national efforts, national committees, where we can hear and understand the efforts that others around the country are doing. So we can foster those best practices and share that information with folks around the state to learn from what others have already experienced. And finally, we want to be fiscal stewards. We have limited funding available in all aspects of our program, so we need to be very diligent about where this money goes and how we can get the best return on our. Despite having 12 units across 4 sections in HSTO, we often find categories that don't fit cleanly into any one of them. This slide is a look at a number of the cross-cutting initiatives currently underway in the division. The first is the recent update on the federal manual uniform traffic control devices. This is guidance that applies to all states across the country, and PennDOT is currently looking through pubs and policies to ensure that we're in compliance. The next is a recent addition to enforcement programs in PA. The Automated School Bus Enforcement Program gives school districts the opportunity to capture information on motor vehicles that don't properly stop when school bus drivers are picking up or dropping off school students. To build on our idea of training, we have developed the Traffic Academy, a week-long program designed for new employees across central office and the districts in the traffic units. This week-long program gives folks exposure to each of the different things that we're responsible for, as well as giving them an opportunity to meet their coworkers in other areas of the state. Bridge strike prevention is a challenge for Pennsylvania as well as other states across the country. We are exploring potential countermeasures, understanding the causes of these bridge strikes, and working to find ways to lessen these issues in the future. A few years ago, PennDOT began work with DCNR on a trail pilot for ATVs. This identified a number of state road segments where ATVs were designated to be allowed on our roadway to connect some of these trail networks together. We are building a program based on lessons learned from that pilot to establish guidance for other areas around the state. This will look at things like highway safety challenges, traffic volumes and speed to ensure that anywhere ATVs are allowed is safe. We can do so in a safe manner. Nationally, there's a goal to reach 0 highway fatalities. In Pennsylvania, we've been hovering around 1,200 for the last several years. So as an interim step, we have identified the concept of a push for under 1,000. What are the goals and strategies that we can identify to get us there in this incremental step on our way to 0? With that, I'm going to turn you over to our next speaker. Ryan McNary is the chief of our operations and TSMO performance section, one of the 2 TSMO areas that we have here in HSTO.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ryan McNary. I'm the section chief for traffic operations and performance. We're going to be talking about the accomplishments and the roadmap for 3 of our units: temporary traffic control, traffic systems and performance, and TMC operations, or traffic management center operations. I'll try not to talk in too many acronyms here. Getting into some accomplishments that we're proud of that occurred over the last year or so is the Work Zone Speed Enforcement Camera Program was officially signed into an actual program. It's no longer a pilot. Formerly used to be called the Automated Work Zone Enforcement Program. So we're proud to have that. And it's an opportunity for different construction or work zone applications to have automated enforcement out there to hopefully slow people down in approved work zones for that application. Another accomplishment by that office was the new driver work zone safety program in partnership with the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So this is essentially what it sounds like. It's a online course where individuals that aren't used to work zones, or new drivers, for example, can understand how to navigate our work zones and the signage effectively. Moving on to the traffic systems office. A couple years ago, we purchased a statewide origin and destination and waypoint data set. So what that is think of to and from points, and then the car's breadcrumb trails of where they're traveling within Pennsylvania, or if they're traveling from outside or through Pennsylvania. So that is very beneficial to different traffic engineering studies or highway occupancy permits. And all that data is available to anybody doing business on behalf of PennDOT, so our consultant community or contractor community, or PennDOT in general. So you can just contact this office and we can make that available to you. Video sharing upgrades is something we've been working on as well for the last couple of years, and we've accomplished all the hardware and software upgrades to set us up to have the availability to do video recording statewide. Again, with those studies, the traffic engineering or traffic count studies that might have to occur, instead of sending some people out to the field now within district offices, you can just request recordings of certain sections of the road, if we have cameras in those locations, obviously, and those recordings can then be facilitated within the traffic units and the traffic management centers. One big accomplishment in 2024 was the awards we received for our data-driven changeable message sign messaging. So we developed a queue protection, a data-driven queue protection system that uses the vehicle probe speed data we've purchased to help drive our travel time. So if you're ever looking at those signs, you see travel times from X to X. That's that data. So it's anonymized vehicle data that's in near real time. So think about 3 to 5 minute latency on it. So we can tell the speeds of the roadways. Then we can post messages on our message boards that say, you will experience a slowdown in 2 miles. That won our region's American Transportation Award, but then it also won the National Award for the Best TSMO project from the National Operations Center of Excellence. So on average, in the corridors where we deployed this, around 300 miles, we've decreased crashes 10%. So we're pretty proud of that one. Moving over to some accomplishments for TMC operations is intelligent transportation systems maintenance work authorization process. So think we need to be a little more fiscally responsible, understanding where we're at with the costs for ITS maintenance. It was something we had to go look inside and basically understand the biggest cost that we have from our TMC operations, respect the equipment and the technology out in the field. And then finally, one of the bigger accomplishments for transportation systems management and operations, that's what that acronym stands for, TSMO. We had a summit for the first time ever here in Pennsylvania in October at Harrisburg University. We had a collection of around 200 different discipline individuals from design, construction, maintenance, operations, obviously, where we talked through a variety of different scenarios or concerns that we've all experienced. And we have a lot of outcomes from that are probably going to drive our roadmap from now and into the future of several years. So from the temporary traffic control side, VSLs. So VSLs are something that we think is a best use case, best practice. You probably have seen these across our roads across the nation, but we want to get them more involved in temporary traffic control. So think long-term limited access projects and nighttime operations. What will be better than seeing that speed reduction lit up at night instead of another orange sign out there that shows you the speed limit reduction? Two systems we're working on, the lane res or lane reservation system and FreeVal and the lane eval modernization. Real quick on these, lane res will be coming here in 2025. It's going to be the one-stop shop for all work zones to be entered into from either the contractor community and then reviewed and approved through the traffic unit and the PennDOT district perspective. It's not going to be Commonwealth designated. It has the ability to have external partners in it as well. So the FreeVal tool and the lane eval tool is the tool that we're working on that has the highway capacity manual methodology in it. So that has the ability to look at when you're taking lanes, how long the queue is going to be. So if you're, for example, work zone, if you take one lane at certain times of day, your queue lengths are going to be X long, and you can expect these types of delays. What we want to do is modernize that a little bit to take into consideration the traffic control mechanisms that are most prevalent in publication 213 and digitize them so we can then share them better with our navigation partners, etc. Thinking forward, we want to work on enhancing how we perform our traffic control plan reviews. And AI is good at looking at different standards. So think Pub 213, MUTCD, and some of these traffic control plans can be upwards to 500 to 1,000 pages. And think about the amount of time it takes to review those. So we think if AI could learn those standards within those publications, those green highlighted boxes you see on the right would be able to offer the reviewers a look in, this might be out of compliance. Take a look at this certain location. From the traffic systems perspective, we are building a connected vehicle data exchange in the cloud. So why we're doing it in the cloud, it has the ability to scale up large, vast resources of data. Connected vehicle data is a huge data source, but we're starting with PennDOT vehicle data first to provide digital alerting or digital protection around mobile operations that are out there. So think plow trucks, think line painting. If we have those locations where those vehicles are, we know how fast they're moving, we can post protection messaging on our DMS and our CMS. But then we can also share that with our navigation companies on like Waze and show them where these plow trucks are when they have to go slower than the motoring public. We want to make all of our data available through our traffic operations analytics portal. We have around 70 terabytes of data in here that we've run a variety of different analysis on. We have a data-driven congestion pie chart, and we've heard our planning partners and others loud and clear, and we want to work on making that available to people outside the Commonwealth network. We received a grant to have computer-aided dispatch integrated into our TMC, so we're working on building that out. And then we think the future of what we can do with traffic operations involves vehicle data. And a lot of different states are heading down this pilot right now. So think about tire traction control, hard braking events. All that information is being captured in the vehicle, being shared with your vehicle manufacturers, and then anonymized. And we think we would have the ability to understand what certain road conditions are out there or assets potentially are deteriorating based off these crowdsourced vehicles. And then finally, our TMC operations unit, we did a partnership with the State Transportation Innovation Council to enhance our queue protection program. So we deployed modems to portable CMS to have queue protection in work zones that couldn't have that before. And then we're doing that throughout this year. We're modernizing our safety service patrol and the survey that motorists receive, or to kind of make that a digital survey. And we're building a new system. So the event management system is coming. So it's going to remove how events are entered into the road condition reporting system by our TMC operators and others. That's going to come over to the event management system and get us ready to have dynamic lane control that's coming to the Philadelphia region. And then some forward thinking, very focused on ITS maintenance, sustainability. And one of those key things that we think our asset management needs to benefit on is a look into our operations network. So our network management system is a project that we're working on with the Philadelphia District 6. And this is going to help us deploy our resources when technology or devices go down. It's tough to manage a network when you don't know what the problem is. So this system will allow us to give us those digital eyes to understand what is going on out there. So the next speaker I have the pleasure of introducing is Steve Galt. He's the section chief for TSMO Arterials and the planning section. And thank you.
Hello, I'm Steve Galt, and I will be presenting on our traffic planning and signals section. The HSTO RoadMap provides a high-level direction, and our regional operations plans are a more detailed blueprint. We're excited to share that we have finished all 4 regions in a new format in 2023. The TSMO funding initiative was moved out of discretionary funding to a more stable source of funding under the carbon reduction program beginning with the 2025 TIP cycle. The statewide program was doubled from $5 million to $10 million per year, which allowed us to change the match from 50% down to 20%. Integrating new devices into the network continues to be challenging with changing IT requirements and new technologies. We developed a new scoping process to get different groups on the same page during the design phase to minimize issues during construction. Our traffic signal asset management system continues to grow and evolve into PennDOT central repository for everything related to intersections. A pedestrian and bike module was rolled out earlier in 2023, which helped PennDOT keep ADA documentation in one place and support multimodal needs going forward. At the end of 2023, another module was added for roundabouts. In 2022, we issued the first policy for LED border-lit signs to ensure they are used appropriately and consistently in place of traditional flashing warning devices. PennDOT's ICE tools continue to grow with the development of a web-based tool, which streamlines several tools such as the federal CapEx tool and safety performance models to evaluate life cycle cost. So where are we going next? The TSMO program plan continues to guide us forward in achieving the TSMO goal of a less congested, more reliable network, and we're using the capability maturity model to track our progress to advance in all areas of TSMO. Until we achieve the goal of having TSMO fully integrated into everything PennDOT does, we continue to be the vocal champions to have traffic operations considered in the project development process and best leverage various funding sources to achieve the vision for each region in its regional operations plan. Next month will be 20 years since a tax study first outlined the challenges with Pennsylvania's approach to traffic signals. We continue to push for PennDOT to have a more active role in the operation of signals rather than forgetting about them after issuing the permit. With new technology, we know there is great potential to make improvements and actually see whether they are working with performance measures. We are beginning a pilot of automated traffic signal performance measure software to gain insights into the operation of traffic signals across the state. The other side of managing signals is to have the resources available to do things. We're fortunate to have several funding programs such as Greenlight Go and ARLI to support our priorities, but the management of these programs is consuming more and more of our time. To put things in perspective, a typical project manager in a district may manage a dozen or two projects at any given time, but we are managing around 400 active projects and don't have any staff that are 100% dedicated to that work. At the core, traffic signals are a type of traffic control device. We need to ensure that not only are they meeting the core principles of a traffic control device, we are using reliable equipment that is cost effective both for the initial procurement and ongoing maintenance and operations. We know the challenges with traffic signal poles for every project. They cost a fortune and take too long to deliver. We are committed to finding better solutions to address this situation. Finally, we recognize our role in central office of providing support to others, especially the districts. Our job is to answer the tough questions for unique situations based on policy and research, and we also strive to provide the tools to make everyone else's jobs on the front lines more efficient. And that wraps up our portion on traffic planning and signals, and I'd like to turn it over to our next speaker, Bob Pinto, who is the Chief of the Traffic Engineering and Permits section.
Hello, my name is Robert Pinto. I'm the Section Chief for the Traffic Engineering and Permits section within HSTO, and I'll be providing the overview of the roadmap items for this section. Although our sections had a number of accomplishments that are highlighted in the HSTO roadmap, for the sake of time, I'm only going to focus on two here for your information. The first being our efforts towards implementing new Welcome to Pennsylvania signs. So beginning in 2023, HSTO staff worked with the governor's office on a plan to redesign and replace our existing Welcome to Pennsylvania signs located at our borders coming in from other states. So the concept was to incorporate the Liberty Bell and a new slogan, Let Freedom Ring, into the design for the signs in preparation for the 250th birthday of the United States in 2026. So a target date of July 1st was set to complete this work, and including the complete redesign and installation of new signs. So our staff worked closely with the governor's office, executive staff, as well as our sign shop to redesign and manufacture these largely handmade signs by that target date. From this picture here, you can see the size of these signs, most of which were up to 24 feet by 12 feet. The first sign that was completed actually took 5 employees 33 man-hours to complete. On July 1st of 2024, the first of the 8 signs were installed at various entry point locations around the state, and an additional 29 signs were installed in the coming months. In July of 2024, Governor Shapiro actually visited the sign shop to tour the facility and thank all of the dedicated employees firsthand for their work on this effort. The next accomplishment I want to focus on is APRIS modernization. So PennDOT's automated permit routing and analysis system is what we use to permit carriers to move extremely large or heavy items on state-owned roadways or bridges in the Commonwealth. So we issue over 400,000 special hauling permits annually, and this generates over $32 million in revenue for the state. The original system was implemented in 1998, and at the time APRIS was considered state-of-the-art, but as you would expect, over time there was a need to improve and modernize the system to continue to meet customer expectations and improve our service. In December 2019, we completed our first major update of the system, with a focus being on the customer interface. This greatly improved the efficiency and accuracy of the system. It implemented a new map interface, which allowed customers to essentially select their route from point to point. This reduced denial rates and reduced planning times. We're currently finishing up work on the second phase of this, which focuses on the internal side of the system, which is used by our permit staff, as well as updating the system to a new technology platform. We're expecting to complete this phase of the work in summer of 2025. The Central Permanence Office is then going to continue to work with our neighboring states in an effort to harmonize our permit systems with the goal of providing a more seamless experience for our hauling industry applicants. So where are we going? There's a number of items that are listed in the roadmap, but I'm going to highlight only a few of them here for your information. The first being the MUTCD 11th edition compliance. So the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices is the national standard for traffic control devices. It's what establishes that anywhere in the country you go, a stop sign looks like the same stop sign. Traffic signals function the same way. So really trying to avoid drivers' confusion and improving highway safety. This national standard is adopted in Pennsylvania by law. We're obligated to follow it. And a new addition to the MUTCD was published in January of 2024. There's a requirement that all states that follow the MUTCD must adopt it by January 2026. So there's, as you can imagine, this impacts multiple areas of HSTO, signs and pavement markings, traffic signals, work zone traffic control, for example. So much work is underway right now, updating various publications, our sign standards, and as well as updating our training materials so all the districts and everyone affected are aware of these changes and what must be done to comply. Next would be improvements to our statewide line painting program. So this is a large program comparatively on a national basis. In 2024, our district line painting crews painted over 98,000 line miles during the paint season. And in doing so, they applied 1.4 million gallons of paint and 9.6 million pounds of glass beads that provide the nighttime reflectivity for the paint lines. So the goal is to really optimize the efficiency of this statewide program while improving highway safety. This is a challenge because there's always a challenge between maintaining efficiency of the program while also maintaining the quality of the lines themselves and their performance. So it's also have issues with staff turnover because this is a very specialized program. So some things that central office has done, we've updated our statewide paint truck training, kind of focusing more on operational procedures, sampling and testing, and more hands-on equipment work. And we're also conducting more quality assurance reviews to ensure that our procedures are being followed effectively at the district level by the crews, and I'll look for opportunities to enhance our training. Next is PennDOT's plans for our Innovative Technology Deployment Program. So what is that? ITD is a national program under the Federal Motor Carrier and Safety Administration that covers a wide array of technologies used by both DOTs as well as law enforcement for commercial vehicle size and weight enforcement. This could be weigh and motion systems, roadside sensors, and data sharing platforms that are used by both, again, DOTs and law enforcement as we partner together to work on commercial vehicle enforcement. The federal government has a grant program under ITD, and in 2024, PennDOT applied for and received a $1.4 million grant that we're going to use to kind of further our activities under ITD, and this will open the door in the future for us to access more federal funds to broader expand this program. And again, the goal is preserving our infrastructure from these large and heavy loads and enhancing highway safety. Lastly, I'm going to speak on improvements to PennDOT's HOP program. Highway occupancy permits are how PennDOT approves access to our right-of-way for private and public driveways. As you can imagine, many of these driveways are for businesses or developments, so these are critical for regional economic development and a very important part of our business. There's been industry demands over the years for PennDOT to continually look for ways to streamline and improve our HOP process. So these improvements we've implemented to date support economic development by shortening the timeline for HOPs while holding the line for highway safety and better managing traffic flow. Most recently, we've worked directly with the Governor's Office of Transformation and Opportunity and district permit staff to re-engineer and streamline the entire HOP application process and establish standard timeframes for application reviews. So this diagram depicts some of these changes where we've split the HOP application process into two phases, with each phase being limited to a 90-day agency review timeline consisting of 3 review cycles. This will greatly improve transparency and accountability for both PennDOT and applicants. Your next speaker is Thomas Glass, Chief of the Highway Safety Section within HSTO.
Hello. I appreciate the opportunity to share some updates and insights from the Highway Safety Section. There are 3 units within the Highway Safety Section addressing crash data systems and analysis, behavioral traffic safety efforts, and safety infrastructure improvements in addition to tort programs. The key to our success is collaboration among each other and our partners to achieve mutually beneficial goals and objectives. Our section provides traffic safety related data, funding, resources, tools, and other support to state and local partners. We strive to help improve efficiency and leverage limited resources towards the highest returns on investment. The Highway Safety Section continues to remain in the forefront of traffic safety programming. We're identifying and integrating new data into our databases to expand our understanding of roadway safety problems. We have new roadway data elements available to us and are also working to integrate equity data into our problem identification practices. Ensuring we can provide information and resources to everyone is vital towards advancing our safety objectives. We continually developed the Pennsylvania Crash Information Tool website, or PSIT. We've made numerous tweaks based on customer feedback. We've also used feedback from a recent survey and have turned ideas and suggestions into future enhancements. We appreciate learning about customer needs as they often provide benefit to others. The additional data has allowed us to dive deeper into project planning and development. Beyond the data enhancements, we were able to successfully help bring new grant funds to the Commonwealth to help support our efforts to reduce impaired driving. And our evaluation and analysis efforts continue to improve as we stay on top of current research, best practices, and develop support tools for internal and partner use. The section staff continually seek out areas we can improve our program administration and levels of support provided to partners. As new data and information becomes identified, we will continue to collect and integrate it into our systems. We're working on EMS and other data to provide a broader problem identification under the safe system approach concept. Updates to the Highway Safety Network Screening Tool, the Pennsylvania Crash Information Tool, and the Crash Data Analysis and Retrieval Tool, among other tools, are ongoing. Not only do we want to continually improve how we support internal staff, we want to ensure everyone who can benefit from the support is aware of what's available. Expanded use of tools helps maximize their use, their impact, and their return on investment. In response to new requirements under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we're identifying and integrating equity data into our project planning and development efforts. The new data complements what we already have and helps us better understand the communities we're supporting. This effort identifies at-risk populations and other potential areas for engagement, helping us target beneficial resources to address their traffic safety issues and needs. Expanding the voices and perspectives in planning is important, and we're looking at that more closely when planning updates to the various traffic safety programs we manage, including enhancing the district highway safety plans. When we are incorporating other traffic safety focal areas like behavioral safety and post-crash care into what is a more comprehensive representation of what is being done to improve safety across the Commonwealth. What projects with expected safety benefits can be identified early and prioritized into project planning cycles? Vulnerable road users remain a top priority emphasis area in Pennsylvania. We're working on new approaches to VRU-related educational outreach efforts, along with partnering with law enforcement for additional training and collaboration. Also in response to the IIJA, our office has been working with grantees and partners to engage local communities with roundtable discussions and working with law enforcement to conduct outreach. The roundtables are designed to bring in a variety of voices and perspectives from affected communities to engage in a discussion about what traffic safety efforts are working in their areas and what else is needed based on review of the available data. Law enforcement are hosting outreach activities as well, like Coffee with a Cop, to help improve community relations and raise awareness of why the police are conducting traffic enforcement. In addition to enhancing our data analysis and evaluation systems and tools, we are creating training and other resources to help users take full advantage of the information we can provide. We are working to make it easier for everyone to help play their part in making the roads safer. That's the end of my presentation. Please remember to use the QR code on this slide to access a copy of the HSTO RoadMap. Thanks for your time and attention. At this time, we're going to transition to open questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, Ryan, Steve, Bob, and Tom for your presentations and providing an informative look at PennDOT's Highway Safety and Traffic Operations Division. Now we would like to hear from you, our audience members. If you have any questions for our presenters today, please enter it via the chat box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Anya Walker from the Bureau of Strategic Business Operations will read them. While we are waiting for the questions to come in, please direct your attention to the chat box. If you would like to be awarded 1 PDH credit for your participation today, please click on the link and complete the short survey. Now back to the questions. Panelists, at this time, I ask that you please unmute yourselves. Anya, what questions do we have in the chat?
Thanks, Jacqueline. Yeah, we actually already have a couple questions here. Question number one, is PennDOT using probe or CV data for speed limit setting or speed limit compliance? And do districts and regions still use handheld radar or portable side-fire data collectors?
All right, thanks, Anya. Hey, Sean, how you doing? So basically, the understanding I've had on the probe data is it's more of an average. So not really a true speed for the facility. You're going to miss the highs, you're going to miss the lows. So up till now at least, the districts are still using the standard methods that they've always used. We've never moved into the idea of probe or connected vehicle data for speed limit setting.
Thanks, Doug. Question number 2 from George. How do we request video of a traffic intersection that has a camera system to do traffic counts? I think Ryan is on. I'm not sure, Ryan, if you want to take this question.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So eventually there will be a standard traffic engineering form for this once we enable recording. We're waiting for the green light on that. But first, we have to get our TMC cameras in there. So those 1,000+ cameras that we have on our limited access and arterials. And then we're going to shift over to bringing in the signal cameras we have connectivity to for a select number of intersections that we have those. So that won't be in the first phase, but we are eventually planning on having that available for those traffic counts as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Right. Next question from Kevin Tobias. How do out-of-state contractors know that they need to get a hauling permit, and how do they contact the department? I believe that's a question for you, Bob, and he's in the room with us here.
Yeah. The need to acquire hauling permits is pretty much a standard thing nationally as these haulers, anyone in the industry that's hauling oversized, overweight loads, generally know that they're aware of the laws that may differ from state to state. And so they have a couple different ways they can go directly on PennDOT's website. You can access the APRIS application through PennDOT's website. There are also private permit services that operate, and they have access and APRIS accounts, and they can actually acquire a permit for you for a fee. So they're kind of like partners that we work with in the hauling permit service community. So a couple different ways.
And then there's another question for you. Della Street asks, did I hear correctly that the APRIS module will be going live this summer of 2025?
At the time that we recorded these were pre-recorded. That was the direction that we were heading. Although no formal launch date was set. And again, this is the second phase of our APRIS modernization. The first phase was actually in 2019 when we opened the customer-facing interface, the web-based system that our customer uses. This is the internal application-facing side that we're planning the second release for. Still targeting summer 2025, but we don't have a final date set as we're still in system testing.
Thank you. And I see Danielle also put the link in there to apply for a hauling permit. Thank you for that. Will there be a copy of the webinar to view later? Yeah, sorry that the sound did not come through for you. Yes, we will send out a recording of the webinar to everybody that was on the list today. It will also be uploaded to our website. And with the okay from our presenters here today, we can also send out a copy of the slide deck. Right, and then I think Sean and Ryan had a little conversation here in the chat about using the 85th percentile speeds, and it looks like that's what PennDOT has been using for the work zone speed limit considerations. I'm not sure, Ryan, if you wanted to add anything else to that, or we're good there.
So we require an analysis on certain, if different work zones want to pursue doing automated enforcement, we require a study. So 85th percentile has been used as a part of that analysis to help support any automated work zone enforcement.
That's good. Thank you. Right.
Adding on to that, but we're also working on an effort, Sean, Bob's area is leading it. We're looking at national practices and trying to figure out if we need to make any adjustments to how we do speed limit setting, especially in urban areas. So more to come on this topic.
Thank you. Sean will follow up with you all about what they're doing in Texas, so stay tuned. And Ken, yes, we will add you to our list for the email of the presentation. All right, we do have a couple more minutes. I have a couple of questions here in the room, and please feel free if any questions come to mind to post them here in the chat. So maybe Doug, for you, an overall question: how did the roadmap come to be? How was it developed?
So, for years, PennDOT would do some type of strategic planning, and we always thought it fell a little bit short to provide good guidance for our own division as to really where we came from and where we're going. So we started with the concept of something more like an investment prospectus of why should leadership want to invest in the things we're doing in highway safety and traffic. So we started with that mindset and built the first roadmap back in 22 with the idea of updating it on a 2-year basis. So that gives us a 2-year look back at the accomplishments we've done and then a 2-year look forward to where we're going. So it's given each of the 12 units that I mentioned an opportunity to think through those things to help them focus, because there's so many things that come up on a daily, weekly basis that folks get pulled into. This is something that they could go back and see, all right, we got a lot of other things we're taking care of, new ideas come into play that we want to tackle, but the roadmap is something that we can use as a focus to help us drive down a path and keep some level of consistency while we deal with everything else. So it's been helpful. I like what it's doing for us, and we're going to continue trying to pursue and adjust and improve it here every 2 years.
Okay, and we can send the link out to the document too when we send out the report, so easy access. Now you mentioned the guiding principles that were used. Are they only being used by HSTO, or are there areas using those as well?
So HSTO weighed in quite heavily on these. These were something that we started thinking through a number of years ago for the Bureau of Operations. And, as I mentioned, HSTO really had a huge weigh in on this. And it was something that we thought would help everybody think in a similar way, even though the work we're doing is very different. So they were just the types of key things that we felt it was important for folks working in PennDOT, specifically in the Bureau of Operations and the Division of Highway Safety and Traffic, that we wanted folks to keep in mind here, no matter what type of work they do.
Thank you. That's good. Now, your presentations mentioned the automated enforcement. Will that be expanded to other applications as well?
So right now we do automated enforcement in Pennsylvania in a number of different areas. We started with red light enforcement, and then we added work zone speed enforcement, and a boulevard in Philly, Roosevelt Boulevard, started to do speed enforcement without a work zone. And since that time, we've moved from a temporary pilot legislation for the work zones to a permanent legislation. We're going to be expanding the number of roads in the Philly area that are going to have automated enforcement. We're starting to explore from legislation the ability to do automated enforcement in school zones. There's also legislation for automated enforcement of school bus arms. So if folks don't stop when the school bus stops and puts the stop sign out and the arm down, if vehicles don't stop, that's also now a violation. So each piece that we try to work on, we try to be diligent and transparent to make sure that it's being done with the right mindset. It's done for safety reasons. It's not done to generate revenue. So we're very conscientious of that and make sure that we continue to focus on that so that future programs may be considered by legislation. And to demonstrate that, the speed enforcement for work zones, we've had it, I'm not sure the number of years now, but it still costs us money. So it's not a money-making endeavor by any means. So we'll see over time. We're going to just take them one by one and keep doing our best to make sure they're deployed properly.
Thank you. And then we do have another question here in the chat regarding bridges. Maybe you can answer that, from the HSTO world. Are there any new technologies or initiatives being implemented in the near future to address maintenance, safety, construction, and innovation of bridges across the Commonwealth of state roads?
So I could talk from the hitting over height bridges. That's more the focus that we've done from the highway safety and traffic perspective. We've been working with the bridge office to look at national best practices, look at things that we've done in the future to try to identify some key countermeasures that we've seen and explored. I'm out in Des Moines right now for a conference, and I was out for a run yesterday morning and stopped to take a picture of a bridge strike prevention technique that was deployed out here. So we're always on the lookout for ways to try to keep people from overheight vehicles from hitting our bridges, and it comes from a wide range of reasons, whether they're vehicles that don't have their loads secured properly, or it could be somebody that is just rented a rider truck and doesn't really understand how tall that truck is. So I think from our vantage point, a lot of our focus on technologies has been to try to prevent bridge strike hits. Ryan or Bob, I don't know if you have something additional that you think might apply to that.
Yeah, we were actually one of the first states to make the state-owned low bridge data set available to third-party mapping companies almost close to 5 years ago now. There's a lot of back and forth. So Google ways they can ingest that data, but we're trying to, like Doug said, we're trying to work with the temporary trucks, so like the U-Hauls, RVs, because that actually constitutes a lot of the bridge strikes. And then from the technology perspective, just some areas that I've heard about in other conversations, a lot of information from dash cams or vehicle cams in general have the ability to look for maintenance deficiencies. So think of crowdsourced vehicle data. It is crowdsourced imagery data, and it can be trained to understand what maintenance concerns with bridge. So that's an asset management. And then I know other areas have been considering drones to do the inspections of bridges, so they don't have to send people out there. They'll just have the camera on the drone, and then it can scan underneath the bridges, for example, and it's a cost-saving measure. Those are the two I'm aware
of. And just this is Bob Pento. Just the last thing I want to relate as it relates to bridges. One of the most important functions of our automated permit routing and analysis system, or APRAS, is to assess loads and issue them a route based on their size and weight. And one of the most important factors are the bridges that are going to be on that route. And the system actually ingests the size and weight all down to the specific weights of axles for loads, and it automatically analyzes all of the bridges that may potentially be in the route they want to go when a load needs to go from point A to point B, and automatically does an analysis to see can the bridge handle that load, and it will actually reroute a load onto a roadway that kind of is better suited and can safely handle the size and weight of those loads. So we work closely with the bridge division on basically all the intelligence that's built into APRAS to do that online automated analysis. So there is a close working relationship with bridge in that regard.
Thanks, Bob. All right, and now that we're at time, I'm going to pass it back over to Jacqueline, who has a couple last items to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Anya, and thank you all for your great questions today. If you still have a question that hasn't been answered, you're always welcome to submit your questions to .innovations@pa.gov. That's right there on the screen for you. We'll work with our panelists to provide responses to your questions following today's webinar. I'd like to thank Doug, Ryan, Steve, Bob, and Tom, and all of you for participating in today's session. We have 2 links in the chat box. The first is a quick feedback survey that we'd like you to complete. The second link, again, is to request 1 professional development hour for participating in today's webinar. Your feedback is valuable to us, and we will help us plan for future events. I also like to remind everyone to look out for the invitation for the next Innovation in Motion webinar, which will be held on Tuesday, August 12th. In addition, if you are interested in learning more about innovations PennDOT is pursuing across the state, check out the online Focus on Innovations publication, and the link is also in the chat. If you have any innovative ideas to share for future webinars, we'd love to hear from you. Please send your ideas to .innovations@pa.gov. Thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to your participation for future webinars. Thank you. Have a great day.